Oh my gosh, I came across an article today that completely demonstrates Meghan's inability to play chess, to put herself in other people's shoes, to really consider the words that she says, and it just demonstrates a complete lack of awareness. So let's get into this article, and before we begin, here is the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. The article is titled Inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Lonely Christmas as Expert Confirms Royal Snub. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle spent Christmas alone in California with just one relative joining them while the rest of the family celebrated in Sandringham. This article was released today, Friday, December 27th, just a couple of hours ago, and it is right off the press. So immediately reading the title, I feel they're trying to garner some sympathy, playing into their lonely narrative, and only one person was able to visit them while the rest of the family was celebrating in Sandringham. You know, there's something my dad used to say, and there's no direct translation into English, but essentially you suffer at the things that you did because of your own hand. So if they're lonely and they were snubbed, there's a reason for that. These are the consequences of their behaviors from as early as 2016 or 2017. The article begins, Christmas used to be a major royal gathering for Prince Harry, but lately the festivities with Meghan Markle and their children have diverged sharply from Sandringham's grand celebrations. In my opinion, Meghan Markle is a narcissist. This is based on my experience being around narcissists. I grew up with them. I married one. So I can recognize a lot of the manipulation tactics that have been used, the isolation techniques that have been used, and in my opinion, Meghan's goal from the get-go was to isolate Prince Harry from the rest of his family. This paragraph demonstrates her ability to have done that successfully. I believe Meghan's choice to step away from the royal family's traditional Christmas celebrations indicates her desire to assert independence and control over family dynamics. Narcissists distance themselves from established norms to emphasize their uniqueness and superiority, and I believe Meghan has been trying to do that for years, and I also believe her goal was to isolate Harry. The interesting thing is here that she's indirectly insulting her current traditions. That sentence that says, their current festivities have diverged sharply from Sandringham's grand celebrations implies that their celebrations now are not grand. It almost sounds insulting to me. Let me know if you feel that as well. The article continues, the Sussexes, preferring the coziness of their California home, have enjoyed the quieter holiday seasons with Meghan's mother Doria as their sole family guest. In my opinion, I don't think that this is something to write home about. The decision to only include Meghan's mom reflects exclusivity and control over their inner circle, which is a hallmark of narcissistic behavior. It highlights Meghan's selective approach as to who is in her world and who she keeps out. It allows her to maintain her curated image. By focusing on intimate, in quotation mark, cozy celebrations, this article draws a contrast with the perceived opulence of her neighborhood, who are generally thought to have more opulent and extravagant gatherings. The article continues, since marrying Meghan in 2018, Harry has spent just one Christmas at Sandringham in December that year. Now he welcomes the happy holidays of his new homeland, with mother-in-law Doria notably included in their Montecito celebrations, according to Meghan. So again, just another example of Meghan speaking for Harry, and another example of Meghan's influence over Harry. Up until 2018, Harry celebrated Christmas. And now he says happy holidays. This is just another example of Meghan's influence over Harry. It's almost like she's trying to erase his identity and his relationship to his family and his home country. Let me know what you think about that. The next two paragraphs are what drew me to this article. So, picked a tree from the rows upon rows of Christmas pines in one of the local stores. Their house will be decorated and the yard strung with festive lights. The wealthy residents of Montecito hire interior designers to decorate their houses and trees to perfection, Ingrid claimed. This description of preparing for the holidays and decorations reinforces Meghan's desire to project this picture-perfect lifestyle that goes hand in hand with this Netflix documentary she's trying to release about how she's this great host and she's a great cook and she loves to entertain others. From my experience with narcissists, they often seek to portray themselves as living this idyllic life to gain admiration and maintain control over the public narrative. Meghan is incredibly obsessed with how she is viewed in the public. The other thing I want to mention here is that detail about Montecito's wealthy residents hiring professionals for decorations indirectly mocks their approach to perfection, suggesting that they like authenticity. They need to pay to get their decorations done. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are out there picking their own Christmas tree. This is the lack of self-awareness that I wanted to mention. This woman does not know how to play chess. Her neighbors are going to read this article, and if I was one of her neighbors, I'd feel insulted. The article continues, it would not look good if Meghan, who publicizes herself as the all-American homemaker, was to hire someone to adorn their house and decorate their tree. She will have done it herself and made the gingerbread house as is traditional in America. Okay, so the rest of this video, I'm just going to focus on these 2 paragraphs because this is what I mean by she lacks complete self-awareness. So let's get back to this sentence. The wealthy residents of Montecito hire interior designers to decorate their houses and trees to perfection. This highlights how Meghan's neighbors rely on professional help, and it sets up Meghan in contrast with these people, that she is someone who values authenticity over extravagance. This aligns with her narcissistic tendency to position herself as superior to others, and she does this by diminishing her neighbors. This statement criticizes her neighbors for their focus on external perfection, and it implies that their traditions lack the personal touch that Meghan is portrayed as emphasizing. Then let's look at this next part. It would not look good if Meghan, who publicizes herself as the all-American homemaker, to hire someone to adorn their house. Meghan's emphasis on being this all-American homemaker is a brand that she is trying to stick to. She's trying to validate her identity post-royal life. Narcissists craft specific narratives about themselves to gain the admiration of others and align with cultural ideals. Meghan is emphasizing that she decorates her own home and participates in traditional activities like making gingerbread houses, and this contrasts with her neighbors she paints them subtly as detached from these authentic experiences. If this article was supported by Meghan or her team, it demonstrates a lack of self-awareness. Instead of painting her neighbors in a positive or neutral light, the article's tone makes them seem superficial or detached from meaningful celebrations. A narcissist may not realize how these comparisons alienate others or foster resentment, as they're often focused on enhancing their own image above all else. I think these types of articles really let us see the type of behaviors that were probably happening behind closed doors and have led to this isolated existence. If Meghan is making this type of statement publicly and it's being, put on the internet, she really has no self-awareness to realize that although she's trying to paint herself in a positive light, she's insulting her neighbors. I would imagine that this is something that happens in Meghan's interactions all the time. She's basically showing her superiority by contrasting with them, and in order to do that, she has to insult them. It positions Meghan as being more authentic. Narcissists often elevate themselves by diminishing others, even unintentionally, in order to maintain this air of uniqueness and superiority. What would have been more strategic would be if Meghan praised her neighbor's extravagant decorations while subtly noting her personal touch. This would have maintained her authenticity, and it also avoids alienating her community. I think she also misunderstands her audience. Many readers may view the neighbor's hiring of decorators as a harmless luxury typical of wealthy lifestyles. Meghan's insistence on doing everything herself might be interpreted as overcompensating or performative rather than relatable. Her neighbors, who are accustomed to certain norms, may see this as a subtle critique of how they live their life. This would ultimately create unnecessary tension, and this could explain why maybe they are so isolated from their neighborhood. Just a couple of weeks ago, that German documentary came out where one of their neighbors was interviewed, and this neighbor said that they keep to themselves, they don't contribute to the neighborhood at all. These are the types of behaviors she's probably displayed. From what I've seen, this is the first time that it's been done in a publication, but I would imagine that all her interactions are something like this. I talk about life as a game of playing chess. When you say something, you need to think about how it might be perceived and how others may feel after you make those types of statements. You need to have self-awareness and empathy in order to do that. Playing chess means thinking several moves ahead, anticipating how your statement or your actions will be perceived by different audiences. There's this quiet disapproval or passive aggressive backlash from the very people whose opinions might matter to her public image among California elites. And ultimately, this is their downfall, in my opinion. This is Meghan's downfall. This complete lack of awareness. Ultimately, what I see from this article, assuming that Meghan was the driving force behind it, is that she has a complete lack of self-awareness, she's impulsive, and she doesn't have strategic foresight. A more thoughtful approach would have aligned her with the broader community, and it would maintain authenticity and harmony. In my opinion, this misstep is a result of a lack of understanding of how public perception and social strategy intersect, a crucial skill in high-profile environments like Montecito. Narcissistic tendencies such as prioritizing immediate validation over long-term consequences are probably what have led to this error on Meghan's part. I think we can see how this behavior also spills over into her professional life, the branding of ARO, the launching of other businesses. She's not very strategic and she's impulsive. I think Meghan could gain a lot by hiring someone who would be the strategic voice behind her actions. However, I believe that Meghan overestimates her abilities greatly. So in my opinion, this article shows how Meghan is so obsessed with controlling her image and how she lacks self-awareness to realize that the words she's speaking could be insulting to the people that she's trying to impress. I'm curious to know what you all think about this. Please drop that in the comments. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Goodbye.